Coming up, Disney temporarily closes Shanghai and Hong Kong theme parks. New details emerge on the new DVC property in Disneyland, California, and the team discusses their advice on what ride you should ride for your first time ever at Walt Disney World. All that plus news, roundtable, rapid fire, and much, much more on this episode of the Diz Unplugged. From the Bob Varley Studio in Orlando, Florida, this is the Diz Unplugged. The Diz Unplugged is brought to you by Dreams Unlimited Travel, experts at helping you plan the perfect Walt Disney World, Disneyland, and Disney Cruise Line vacation. This is episode 1063 for the week of January 28th, 2020. And I am behind the slides, apparently. My apologies.
Is that a euphemism?
It is. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the show. Coming to you live from the Bob Varley Studio in beautiful Orlando, Florida. I'm your host, John Magi. And unfortunately, Pete Werner is not feeling well today, so he has sequestered himself in his office so as not to get us all sick. We really appreciate that because, I don't know about you all, but we are super busy, so being sick would be inconvenient. I'm so happy to be joined at the table by our Orlando team. Denny Sunderly.
Hi there.
Kevin Close.
Hello, everyone.
Sean Falk.
Hi.
Corey Martin.
I'm just happy to be here.
And back in our production facility, we have our associate producer, Ryan O'Clavin.
Hello.
And our producer, Craig Williams.
Oh, aye, aye.
I apologize. Apparently, I got all messed up on my intro this morning. So if that's a mess, again, my apologies. I only knew I messed up because Craig was making the panic face behind his screen.
I was like, when you went, I was like, is that the cue? Is that the cue?
You've been working with me long enough that I have no idea what I'm doing. Thank you, everybody, for joining us for lively conversation. We're going to start with some housekeeping. I'd like to go first, if I may. Is that okay with everybody?
Go ahead.
Excellent. Thank you.
Should we take a vote?
Do we get a vote?
I don't know about you all, but it feels to me like there's been a lot of bad stuff in the news lately, a lot of sad stuff. There's this virus that's going on in China. There are these fires in Australia. And unfortunately, baseball legend Kobe Bryant was killed in a basketball legend.
God, you're gay.
I am gay. Was killed in a unfortunate helicopter accident. And I feel like, those are things that should be talked about, but I also feel like we need to take this opportunity to sort of take this hour to push that stuff aside and have some fun and talk about the thing we like, Disney.
Okay.
So I hope you all guys will go with me. Let's have some fun and let's joke around. Let's talk to folks about our favorite place in the world, Disney, and go from there. Everybody in?
Sounds good.
Everybody with me?
Yep. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Craig's not, but that's okay.
I thought that's what we always do, right?
That's because you're behind the slides.
Hello, behind the slides. All right. Anybody else with any housekeeping that they'd like to bring up, mention, discuss?
I want to say congratulations to Margaret Kerry. Margaret Kerry.
You're behind the slides.
I know. Margaret Kerry. I'm going to do a different. I'm going to do a different rapid fire. Margaret Kerry is the woman that was chosen to be the body double for Tinkerbell. She is the person the Imagineers had perform the acts that they wanted Tinkerbell to perform in the movie, and they drew her. Margaret's had a very long and storied career. She started with Our Gang. So she's been around quite a while. I just found out the other day that she had a part in Andy Griffith. I didn't know that. We've met Margaret several times, and she is a hoot and a half. We celebrated her 89th birthday, so now she's 90, and she is a widow, excuse me. And at an event, she met someone she knew when she was very, very young, who they dated, and he went on to join the service, and they lost contact, and they both married other people. She is 90 and he is 94, and they have reconnected, and they are getting married in February. Wow. So Margaret is one of those Disney legends. If you've ever had a chance to meet her, she's sweet and charming and feisty. And we love her. So we want to wish a congratulations to Margaret Kerry and her new husband.
Congratulations, for sure. Anybody else? Housekeeping? Shows we're doing? Anything you guys want to plug? Wow.
No. I mean, the usual. You can check out. I put up another episode of Dispop on Patreon. If you want to check that out, patreon.com. There's an early release of this week's Best and Worst on there already too. I don't know.
I'll remind everyone once again that we kicked off the DCL show and Disney Cruise Line show, and that is 2 episodes in now. And if you need help finding where you can get it because you're an audio listener, head over to disunplug.com, and that's where the show notes page is, and that's where you can get all the links to send you to, whether you listen through Apple Podcasts or Stitcher or Spotify, and that goes for all the shows that we have. If they have an audio stream, which was anything except for random vlogs we do in the parks and such, everything else, if you head over there, then you'll be able to get the links to send you to where you can actually download them and listen to them. Or most people probably don't know this unless you're very old school, but we actually host all the audio files ourselves and put the link directly in. So if you still go old school and download an audio file to your computer and then manually add it to your device that you use to listen, you can do that too. It's probably something we could have gotten rid of.
The iPod days, take us with you on your iPod.
I put them on my
With the
cassette
click wheel.
tapes.
Yeah.
And then I do a mixtape.
You have your pencil with you to
I do
rewind it.
and get the right spot.
I want to say we broke 140,000 subscribers on this channel. So for those of you who are watching and have not subscribed, subscribe.
There you go.
That's awesome.
I don't think we tell people to subscribe enough.
Yeah, please subscribe.
Subscribe.
I
The
don't
best way
want-
to get the best way to get informed that stuff's happening, right? Because it's going to tell you right away when something's been posted. So
And I'll plug our Moving to Orlando show. You can also find it in the exact same podcast area that Craig mentioned, I believe. Yes.
Yes, it
so
is.
I assume it's there. So, so if you're interested in moving down to Orlando, getting investment property, anything like that, we can definitely help. I had a showing this morning, so it's on my brain right now. So.
excellent.
Not only that, but something that we don't really mention on other shows too, but if you only watch our videos, you probably don't realize that we do have an audio exclusive show, Connecting with Walt, that dives into the history and a little bit more fun of the parks. And of course, that's hosted by Michael Bowling. I am his co-host. If you listen to it, I'm usually here on this show. I'm grumpy and grouchy because who has fun when they're working for hours before showing up to a podcast? And on that one, we record it every Tuesday night at starting at 8 o'clock our time, and sometimes don't finish up until midnight our time. So usually I'm half asleep by the time we finish, and
It's a great show.
it's great.
So
But no,
we-
it's fun.
So we get grumpy and he gets sleepy.
Oh,
You don't want to know who gets bashful.
There you go. All right, thank you guys for your housekeeping.
I have one more.
I thought we were going to not have enough. Go ahead.
Teresa texted me just moments ago. And
Twisty
she
treat what?
said,
my God.
alert, twisty treat. No, she says she wanted to thank everyone who contacted her after last week's show about their auction items.
Cool.
She appreciates it.
Thank you, Teresa. I assume she's watching us and
She must
making
be.
fun of me. All right, that'll do it for housekeeping. Let's start with the news, and I want to thank Denny for taking over at the last minute and read the news stories.
yeah, glad to.
Take it away, Denny.
Here we go. First news story. Space 220 at Epcot to open to guests on March 30th. Although Disney has not yet confirmed an opening date for the much anticipated Space 220 restaurant coming to Epcot's Future World, sources say that the new eating establishment will begin welcoming guests on March the 30th, 2020.
It's so hard with the name of the restaurant. in
Yeah.
2020.
How many 2s and 20s do we have going on? So Disney site still states that an opening time frame for the restaurant is this winter, which officially ends on March 19th. And to get to the restaurants, guests will board a special space elevator that will transport them to the dining room. Viewpoints will provide an aerial view of Epcot as guests feel like they're traveling high above the planet. Disney has not yet released the menu and or when they'll start accepting advanced dining reservations for the new restaurant. And Space 220 is part of the Patina group of restaurants.
Is this now? I understand that this isn't official, correct? We feel this is strong because of the rumors we're hearing.
It's
and the
definitely
people-
not Disney official. It's just inside sources essentially that let us know this is the projected date so far. So
Makes sense.
yeah.
Those bus drivers know everything.
That's where it came from, the bus drivers. Oh my gosh, thank God for bus drivers. Are we excited about this restaurant? Is this something
Absolutely.
we're looking
I've been excited since the minute I heard about it, just because I thought it was neat. I love the concept of the LED screens, because I've always been like, oh, that'd be awesome to have in as many locations as they can to have better views of things. Be nice to have. I know they'd never do it on airplanes, but I've always been like, that'd be great. So people will stop opening their shade to look out and see the bright clouds outside. Apparently, they always look out to see if anything changed suddenly. So I'm like, as
we
many
do
LED
that.
screens as we can get, I'm happy.
make fun of us.
Remember that airplane floors were going to be clear?
Oh dear.
Yeah, they were going to have clear
Just
floors.
see the ground.
I mean, isn't that what
Crazy.
Disney does with their secret portholes?
Yeah,
Right.
like that. Yeah,
A live view of
yeah,
what's
I think
going
it's
on
awesome.
outside.
Yeah.
I don't understand the clear floor as though I can see my luggage. What's the point of having clear floors?
Yeah.
Isn't the luggage underneath you?
That's how they monitor the pets.
Okay.
No, they were going to have clear floors so you could see underneath you.
Oh dear.
So you could see what's not beneath you.
Gotcha. The ground.
Easier
Yeah,
to clean up the
people-
throw up.
Oh dear. People
Do
are
we know-
really excited about this restaurant. They
Do we
can't
know
wait.
anything about the menu? Have we heard any rumors of the what the menu's evening?
Nothing. Which is really surprising that we're getting close. So I don't know.
So what do you think space food's going to be?
Yeah, they're gonna have some funny names. They have to.
yeah.
I mean, it's endless, right?
And you know they're going to have Tang.
Oh, that'd be great. They simply must.
Excellent. All right.
Okay, so next story does involve one of those tougher news stories that's out there right
Danny,
now.
I told you we're not going to talk
I
about
know.
No,
he
John, do you
makes
want me
you
to skip
up.
it because you sent it to me, John?
Make it Disney, Denny.
Okay. Disney closes Shanghai Disneyland and Hong Kong Disneyland resorts in wake of coronavirus. So Disney has made the decision to close Shanghai Disneyland over the Lunar New Year holiday. Shanghai Disney Resort made the announcement in its official website, saying the closure was in response to the prevention and control of the disease outbreak. In their statement, they said that they will gladly refund guests for admission fees, hotel bookings, and other pre-purchased entertainment tickets. They have not stated when the theme park would reopen. The disease, which originated in the central Chinese city of Wuhan, has already left over 100 people dead and more than 4,000 infected as it spreads throughout Asia and as far as the United States. At least 10 cities in central Hubei province are facing travel restrictions, including Wuhan. Major cities, including Beijing, have canceled some or all major Lunar New Year celebrations, which is a rare, drastic step to rein in the spread of the virus. Hong Kong Disneyland has joined Shanghai Disneyland and has ceased operation due to coronavirus fears. A sandwich board has been placed outside the theme park that reads, "To support the government's efforts to prevent the spread of communicable disease and to protect all our guests and cast members, Hong Kong Disneyland is closed until further notice."
They're going high tech, huh?
They
A
are.
sandwich
It's,
board?
well, you know.
Who called it a sandwich board?
Do what you can.
It's actually what they use.
It's called an A-frame.
A-frame.
Yeah.
At least it's not a moose.
But I have heard it said as a sandwich board
You've
as
never
well.
heard the term sandwich board?
I've only ever heard it referred to as an A-frame
Those
in
are the
retail.
people who
That's why I was
download
like,
their RSS feeds and put it on.
Yeah.
Sorry, Danny.
I have more. Do you want me to continue?
do, please.
Okay. All right. In addition, the following notice has been posted on the Hong Kong Disneyland website as a precautionary measure in line with prevention efforts taking place. Did I already read that? No. In Hong Kong, we are temporarily closing Hong Kong Disneyland starting from January 26, 2020, out of consideration for the health and safety of our guests and cast members. The Hong Kong Disneyland Resort hotels will remain open. We are in close contact with health authorities and the government about the situation and will announce a reopening date once they determine it is advisable. The standard park ticket is valid for 6 months from the purchase date. If needed, Hong Kong Disneyland Resort will assist in the refund for guests who have purchased tickets for admission to Hong Kong Disneyland Park or have booked a resort hotel. For additional details, please call the hotline at 852-1-830-830. If a visit to Hong Kong Disneyland is in your near future, we advise you to keep checking with them at the number listed above that I already read as to when they will reopen.
I can tell you,
Yeah.
I got official, kind of semi-official word from Adventures by Disney today. Their first China trips are not until April, and their stance as a business decision has not been made yet. There are no
Right,
cancellations at this point. They want to see
What happens?
what
Where
happens.
this goes.
So, just so you know, that's all I can tell you right now. Nothing's been decided.
I think we're all sort of holding our breath. Where is it going to go? What's going to happen? Will it spread further? Will it affect other places? You know, this is going to be a problem where there's concentrations of people, cruise ships.
Let's
theme
just talk
parks.
about some of the things they've told us we can do to help
All right.
stop it.
Great.
And the one thing that everybody says, the CDC says, everything, is you need to wash your hands every chance you get. Every possible chance you get, wash your hands.
Do that song from Royal Caribbean.
Right. They don't do it. Do they still do it?
They do
Wash
that.
your hands. Wash your hands.
Nice.
So that's the first thing. The other thing is, if you're feeling not well, Pete's done it. Isolate yourself. Sort of stay away from crowds, that kind of thing. And maybe we can bring it down a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it is like concentrations of people. I mean, obviously, he doesn't have coronavirus, but it is a situation where we just did a Carnival cruise last week, and the spa doctor on board, he had made an appointment with her. We went back the next day, and they were like, oh, she's quarantined. So, like, they had to pull her really quick. So, and then from there, by the end of the cruise, there were a lot of people popping up saying, like, they were sick. And the message boards afterwards are like, oh, we're not feeling well after either. So it kind of spread pretty quickly. So
What's a
you never
spa
know with that
doctor?
stuff. They do, like,
med
like the
spa
med
things.
treatment. Yeah, med
Oh.
spa stuff. Yeah.
I didn't know.
A little bit more intensive.
Yeah, I think it's, well, here's the deal. We all know that cruise lines, it's, what's the virus that goes around cruise lines?
Norovirus.
Yeah.
Norwalk?
Norwalk, is it? Yeah, Norwalk, right?
So that's something that people have to be aware of as well. But it's just, you know, people are together and they're spreading it and they're not taking care of themselves hygiene-wise. So we all have to be careful.
Yeah, next time you're at CVS or the grocery store, pick up those little hand sanitizers. I keep them everywhere. I'm not a
Absolutely.
germaphobe, but I'm always
In my
sanitize.
car, you know, all over.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and Disney has gotten more. You know, people always say like the number of times Disney World has closed since it opened. It's been more recently since, you know, the last couple hurricanes that have come through. They've been a lot quicker to close the parks because of like the airport, you know, even Orlando Airport closed in this last hurricane and nothing really happened during that time, just to be a little more cautious, I guess. So even then, like before people are like, oh my God, Disney's closing too. Like, remember they also closed here because of the hurricane that never was, kind of thing.
Can I say
So-
also, this is a weird sort of connection to it, but we've been to Hong Kong, Disneyland, we've been to Shanghai. That seems to be the mentality. Hong Kong, we went and there was the tsunami.
A typhoon.
There was a typhoon. That's a different thing. I apologize. There was the typhoon, and it was, again, not to make Rhino crazy, but there were sandwich boards outside the park that said we are closed because so I think they do this
They were printed on bread, Rhino.
in an overabundance of caution. And while I think it's the right thing for them to do, I think it's very much in this idea of how they operate.
Yeah.
that
While
they're
we were there, they actually closed the park because of the typhoon. And where we were staying at the hotel, the Hong Kong Disneyland Hotel, the kids were outside swimming. It was bright and sunny. And we kept saying, why is the park closed? And what they explained was that it's all made up of islands and that many of the employees come to the park by ferry. And that the other side of where we were, the other part of the islands was getting hit with it. And that's why they couldn't bring employees in. So it never really affected the park, but I think better safe than sorry.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not
I agree.
talking about closing hospitals. I understand it's an inconvenience to us, but it's a theme park.
right.
Plus, it's also a, you know, more of like the East Asia side of things because they, you know, they'll wear the medical masks even when vacationing here. And I remember one time I was out with friends and somebody had mentioned they're like, they thought that they were wearing it because like they didn't want our germs or something. I'm like, no, that means that person doesn't feel well and they don't want to give other people that. So they do seem to be more cautious in general anyway in that East area of Asia to like not spread stuff if it's coming up. So it's not shocking that they went to this.
Let's hope it all gets better. Let's hope they open everything.
Yep, absolutely. Last news story.
Bring us down again, Danny.
Here we go. No, we get to talk about Disneyland Hotel and DVC, proposed DVC. So here we go. Permit reveals new details regarding Disneyland Hotel DVC Tower. According to the Orange County Register, new site plans and permits filed with the City of Anaheim have revealed more details regarding the new Disney Vacation Club Tower proposed for the Disneyland Hotel. This new 350-room addition to the resort is expected to include a variety of room accommodations, including smaller two-person villas similar to the Tower Studio properties that are found at Disney's Riviera Resort. Proposed plans suggest that the resort will feature 271 deluxe studios, 38 smaller Tower Studio-style rooms, 19 one-bedroom villas, 22 bedroom villas, and 2 grand villas. According to reports, the project indicates no new restaurant or retail facilities, but will include a Mickey-shaped spa and small outdoor pool bar as part of a new pool and recreational area. Concept art indicates that the Disneyland Hotel DVC Tower will take inspiration from the current look and feel of the resort with large glass panels covering the building. The tower also appears to feature balconies, breaking from the current norm of the Disneyland Hotel towers. There's a lot left to be done before the project becomes a reality as Disney seeks approval and permits that are required by the City of Anaheim. Although the new tower is expected to be completed in 2023, it could be later, depending on the speed at which the city approves the resort.
Did you say where this is going to be?
I'm trying to remember. I know I read it at one point in time. This news story does not indicate, but
They're like, they got to be out of space, right?
Yeah.
Unless they're going to take, like, behind them, I think there's a huge parking lot.
So
I
I'm trying to
thought that
remember.
was where it was.
Yeah.
We did talk about it briefly on our DVC show when it was being speculated. So it was kind of like the 3 towers this way, and it seemed to be behind, I guess as you're going in that left tower. I can't think, maybe that's Adventureland.
So Adventureland, Frontierland is the furthest.
What was the question? I missed it.
Where's the DVC tower going?
Based on this concept art,
I like to know he's our producer,
Sorry.
right? I wasn't really watching.
People were asking about something in the chat. I was trying to help. Based on the concept art from what I was seeing I had to kind of crop it for the photo we have on here, but it looks to me like the Frontier Tower is the one, that little one sticking out on the left, and then on the right side of it is where you have the convention center and Steakhouse 55 and Goofy's Kitchen. So they're going to kind of shove it right in that area there. But then they also said with it, it's tight, but like
What are you pointing at? Oh, can you show it the photo? Oh,
yeah, so that's what I was thinking. I could be wrong on it,
Yeah,
but that
no,
looks
that
like
looks-
Frontier Tower, and then
Yeah.
some of the buildings to the right of the new DVC Tower look like the convention center and that outline there.
Yep.
And
I know
then the
just-
pool area, which I had to cut off for this photo, is like directly under where like it says Photo Disney at. That's where the pool area would be, and that would make sense because then if that pool area can kind of live right next to the pool, the main pool that they already have there, then it's all kind of it's
Connected.
nice synergy all together
Yeah,
there.
but sometimes they like to do a separate pool for DVC members that's exclusive
Yeah.
and away from everything else. I don't know if they'll put it right next to the current pool, but that's a good sort of guess of where it will go.
You'll have a solid 2 hours of sun at the pool before
Right.
it hits one of those
One of the
buildings.
walls, yeah.
That is a tight location.
Plan it correctly.
Yeah.
I'm fine with it as long as it, like the news story said, as long as it fits in cohesively with the aesthetic, because the Disneyland Hotel is so iconic. So as long as it meshes, blends well.
I'm sure they
Great.
will.
Yeah.
Disney's good at that.
Disney
Oh, yeah.
is bathed in relief that you're okay with it.
Oh, I know.
I mean,
Sure,
I think it's going to do really
Thank
well.
you.
Obviously, like our reports as far as where Riviera went, since that's the first one since the restrictions have come in, has been that it wasn't selling well. Disney says it's selling amazing. We're not hearing that it's selling amazing, so it depends on who you ask, I guess. I think this is going to sell amazing, even with the resale restriction, just because it's so many people want to have more DVC product in the Disneyland parks out in California. So
Do we know for sure this would have the new restrictions? Is that
we don't
something-
know for sure, but I would imagine that it would, just because I think that'll sell even
policy
better
forward.
with that than Reflections or Riviera has here. So
Excellent. Do you
And
have another news
interest-
story, Denny?
Say it again?
Do you have another news story?
No, that was
I
it.
thought you were
That was
hiding one, maybe.
1, 2, 3. We're done.
Excellent.
Did you want me to read another one?
I don't. Thank you very much.
Bad news.
No more bad news. That's it.
Excellent. All right, so let's move on to rapid fire. Can I start with you, Denny, or do you want me to go the other way?
Absolutely.
All
Well,
right.
as long as Craig is ready. Are you ready? You good? Okay. So starting February 19th, a Millennium Falcon Smugglers Run will be a part of the FastPass choices for Disney's Hollywood Studios. They started last week, and this was announced last week. So beginning February 19th, that's when you can go ahead and make your FastPass. I logged on that day and was able to grab one, and they're restructuring the tiers beginning that day as well. So tier 1 is Slinky Dog Dash Coaster. So that's, you got Slinky there along with Smuggler's Run, and then every other attraction in the park is below. So I was able on the same day to get Smuggler's Run and then to get Tower of Terror and Rock and Roller Coaster as well. So this will kind of help alleviate that, because the way that it's structured right now, it's hard to get the headliners that you want. So heads up, jump on there as soon as you get to that FastPass booking window for your vacation. You might be able to get Smuggler's Run. That's
Makes
it.
sense. It makes sense. You know, who knows? Eventually, we may see FastPass for Rise of the Resistance.
That'd be great.
You know.
Fantastic.
All right. Thank you, Denny. Kevin,
I don't usually have to read my rapid fires, but Disney Adventures.
you read every single rapid fire you have. Last time you read us a book.
You did read a book.
That's because it was written.
So
You thought I
read the things
memorized
that are
that?
written.
Do you want me to go on?
Yes,
Are you
please.
okay, Craig? Well, Denny checked with you, so
Well,
I thought I,
I just
should too.
just to make
Yeah.
sure the order was
Well,
right.
that's like an old school. Once the TV fell off the wall and it was no longer behind someone, we can have slides in any order now. Corey could go next. I could go
Once
next.
the TV
But when the
fell off
TV
the
was
wall.
in the back and we had to focus on like, okay, if John speaks during this one, we can't switch to the next slide or then it looks sloppy. So yeah, none of that has mattered since the TV fell out of the wall.
Perfect.
Welcome to our high-tech studio.
I did not hang
Behind
the
the
TV
scenes.
personally,
TV's falling
so
off the wall.
That's 3, 2, 1. This one.
Panels falling down. Sorry, Kevin. go ahead.
Adventures by Disney has released 2021 river cruises. They released it yesterday for Adventures Insider. I realize that's old news. Today was for DVC members, Disney Cruise Line Gold and Platinum, and Golden Oak residents. Tomorrow, open season. Anybody who wants to book can book. There are no new cruises announced. ABD is offering up to $750 per person early booking discount. Those are limited. And they are selling out. They are limited per category. Depending on what you book, you might get it, you might not. The big news is on the Rhine River Cruise, they have created a new shore excursion that you can take. Well, it's only on the Rhine at this point. One of the days, I believe it's day 7 of your cruise, they're going to offer an excursion to Papenburg, Germany. Thank you. I didn't really even know where that was. To the Meyer Werft boat factory, boat building place.
Boat factory.
It's Meyer Werft. I know that
You
part's
got
true.
that. That was perfect.
It's going to be an additional cost on your cruise. It is limited to 40 guests per sailing. It is $498 per person. There will be a bus ride, and then you will travel east to Papenburg, known for its large shipyard, which specializes in building cruise liners, including the new Disney Wish, one of the 3 new Disney Cruise Line ships under construction. Included in your activity is a lunch at a historic hotel.
Kevin, a delicious lunch. That's how they say it. A delicious lunch.
It's at the former location of the Meyer Werft shipyard. It's a Hotel Alta Werft. Visit the Meyer Werft for a unique opportunity to explore the ship, which are under varying stages of construction. Take a privately guided walking tour led by a Disney Imagineer and members of the Meyer Werft team to learn firsthand about the shipbuilding process. Tour the greater shipyard, including a visitor center, assembly building, and the Disney Cruise Line specific shipbuilding area. There's a question and answer session with a Disney Imagineer, page 2, and you get to visit the Meyer Werft gift shop. And okay, there's another sentence here that you've added that says open a dialogue, important information about the horseback riding activity. I don't think that's part of this excursion.
3, 2, 1.
Through the boatyard, riding horses.
I just wanted you to know he made fun of me for leaving out the word delicious. In his note, there's things about a horse riding.
Start discussion here.
Again, this is optional. You don't have to do it. It's $498 per person. So if both of you want to do this, if two people want to do this, you're talking about an extra $1,000. I understand it's a 2-hour bus ride from where the boat docks to the shipyard and back. So it's pretty much a full day thing. If you want to book 2021 ABD River Cruise, they are open to everyone now. There's some great pricing out there. And if you're interested in this excursion, you would have to book the Rhine River Cruise. And I think you should work on it pretty quickly because each sailing is going to have 40 people.
Very, very limited, 40 guests total per sailing. So, and we've asked to see if we can get some added information. They will not add a second one of these. If they fill up, that's it. That's all they're going to do is that one.
They explained to us that because of the amount of people that this visitor center at the shipyard, I mean, they're not going to let you climb all over a working shipyard. They're going to you're going to have to go to where they tell you to go. You're not going to be able to go see which stateroom you've booked.
Rats.
But there's only room for one excursion a day.
Excellent. Thank you, Kevin.
Except for the horseback riding. That's okay.
Open to everybody. Thank you, Kevin. Sean?
All right. On select days throughout the year, select Walt Disney World theme parks will offer early morning magic events that will give guests attending access to specific attractions and breakfast prior to the time that the park opens to the general public. And specifically talking about the Magic Kingdom, guests can make their Magic Kingdom morning even more magical with this limited entry early morning experience inside the park. With their regular theme park admission and the purchase of a Disney early morning magic reservation, guests have the opportunity to be among the first to enter Magic Kingdom Park and experience unlimited access to 7 Fantasyland attractions, which is Winnie the Pooh, Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, Peter Pan's Flight, Princess Fairy Tale Hall, It's a Small World, Mad Tea Party, and Under the Sea, Journey of the Little Mermaid. In addition to having access to the rides, you will also have a breakfast buffet at Cosmic Rays. That's included, which features some of the following: scrambled eggs, smoked bacon, sausage, breakfast potatoes, pancakes, seasonal fruits, oatmeals, yogurt, juices, teas, coffees, all that. So you actually get in at 7:45 a.m. to 10 a.m. On select dates. The cost of admission is $89 plus tax per adult and $79 plus tax per child. And there's dates all the way from January right now through the end of July of this year. So there are also that for Hollywood Studios, which I didn't even realize until I just scrolled down. So you can also do this at Hollywood Studios to get into Toy Story Land early. You'll be able to experience Slinky Dog Dash, Alien Swirling Saucers, and Toy Story Mania. Guests attending this event will also have the chance to meet Buzz, Woody, and Jessie while exploring the recently opened land. Breakfast is included in this event ticket, and it features a continental breakfast of yogurt, fruit, pastries, and assorted cereal, as well as a main dish like avocado toast or fried chicken served with a cronut. So
the breakfast of champions.
Yes, there are no event dates listed yet for the Hollywood Studios one, and that one's $79 a person and $69 for children.
Do you know did they say the hours for the Studios one?
Not for studios.
Remember a couple months ago, maybe it was years ago now, we talked about, it doesn't feel like Disney's going to go to 24 hours a day. Because now you get in at 7:45 a.m.
Yeah.
Woohoo! Eventually they're just never going to close.
And you're still too late to get a Rise of the Resistance
you
boarding.
might as well just not even go. That's true. Thank you, Sean. Corey.
All right, Maria and Enzo's in Disney Springs will once again host Carnival, the festival famous in Venice, also known as Mardi Gras for everywhere else in the world. We'll host this event throughout the month of February. Maria and Enzo's will feature live entertainment each evening from 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. Plus, they'll have a special menu that I will not read off, but we'll have it on the site. It's long. And so, yeah, this will be taking place all month of February.
We did it last year. We went to Carnival.
And I'm going to tell you, it's odd.
It's odd. It's very odd.
First of all, you're in an Italian restaurant that's in an old airplane hangar. Okay. And on top of that, they're having Carnival. I understand you call it Mardi Gras.
Yeah.
And there were opera singers and stilt walkers and balloon makers. And there were some special dishes. And once you get past that, you're in an Italian restaurant, an old airplane hangar, or an old airplane terminal. And the fact that they're celebrating Carnival from Venice, it was fun. It was noisy. It was fun. They had young ladies dressed up in traditional Italian clothes, and they all wandered around the restaurant. It was kind of a hoot. It was
It was a hoot.
a mishmash, but it was a hoot.
I like the theming of Maria and Enzo's. I know you find it odd, but I think it's a really cool space.
I
think it's
love
got
I love the way the building looks. It's kind of got that Art Deco airline terminal look to it, and there's an Italian restaurant in it. So you just
However-
have to accept that.
However, it's a big space and it's loud as it is, and then you add, the fact that the opera singers come out every hour and sing, and somebody's hooting and hollering. It's very loud.
They have an appetizer that I love. It's their meatballs on a bed of whipped ricotta cheese. It is so good.
Oh,
And you
yum.
mix it all together. I like their food. The Carnival thing was weird.
It was weird. It was fun.
Yeah.
All right. Thank
There
you,
you go.
Corey. Rhino, what about you? What do you got for us?
Sorry, I turned down my microphone by accident. John Williams has taken home he won a Grammy in the category of Best Instrumental Composition for Star Wars Galaxy's Edge Symphonic Suite. So, Best Instrumental Composition is a composer's award for an original composition, not an adaptation. First released during the eligibility of the year, singles or tracks only, and that's pretty cool.
Who knew that you could win one for theme park music?
I feel like
That's pretty
we
cool.
talked once before. Somebody else famous had won one for Disney at one point, because that was when I first learned that you could win a Grammy for it. So, I don't think this is the first time Disney has won, well, or somebody related to that music. But it is interesting that that music does get recognized that in that same category. So good for him.
Good for him.
Mm-hmm.
We
Yeah, good
almost
for
met him once.
Oh, was
stood
it almost
next to
amazing?
him.
Yeah, okay.
Almost met him.
That
He
was
passed away in December.
Who did?
No.
No,
John
not
Williams
John
is still alive.
No.
Yeah, he was just at the Grammys. Where he won his
To
award.
get his award.
Maybe that's a different one.
Breaking
of-
news.
One of my biggest mistakes I've ever made in life is when Star Wars Celebration was here in Orlando in 2015. Was that 2017?
No,
2017.
Yeah. What year?
The year it
1970?
was here in
Yeah,
Orlando.
It was 17.
Yeah.
It was
2017.
Oh.
Yeah, because Last Jedi.
Because we met Ryan
Yes.
Johnson.
And
yeah.
I had Rhino and I went there to cover it for work, and I didn't know like how early you had to go to line up. We knew it for D23 Expo, but not for this. And so for the first night before it started, everyone was lining up for the 40th anniversary retrospective panel, and I was like, I have a preview screening of Fast and Furious 8, and I think I'll go to that, and then maybe I'll pop over to the celebration line and get in there. And so, of course, I did that in that order and didn't make it into the panel because I showed up way too late.
People were sleeping
And then-
in line.
Yeah, and I slept overnight. I just didn't get there early enough. And the surprise ending was John Williams came out and conducted a medley of Star Wars songs.
Oh,
Like, when in your life are you ever going to get to hear that? And I missed it, so I could see the fate of the Furious like 3 days before it came out.
I apologize. John Williams, the pianist who came to renown in the 1950s, died in December.
Gotcha.
John Williams died,
Some
not
John
the
Williams.
John Williams. Sorry.
We did still almost meet him. All right.
The pianist or the composer now?
The guy who didn't die. We almost met. Thank you, Rhino. Craig, what you got going on?
I mean, besides telling people life stories about not going to see Fast and Furious movies over watching John Williams.
I enjoyed how you brought it around to the actual
Yeah.
conversation, because for a minute I thought, what is happening?
Listen, I always try to bring stuff around.
Yeah,
It's
I don't
just
know.
whether or not I get to
You
do
try.
it. I try, but
Okay.
I'm heading back out to Disneyland for my rapid fire, and that's that Disneyland After Dark Star Wars Night is now on the schedule for August 27th at Disneyland Park. So this isn't the first time that they've done a Star Wars night as part of their Disneyland After Dark series, but this is the first time that it's going to happen since Galaxy's Edge has been open. So that's also exciting. The other exciting part is that it will be happening during Star Wars Celebration.
Yeah.
That's happening out in Anaheim this year. Tickets are already sold out for that, so unless you can find resale, you have no chance of going to that celebration. Unless you already have them, and then
Is
then
that
you'll
the
be going.
convention?
Yes.
Yes, you went to the one in Chicago.
Do
this
we have
past
tickets
year.
to that?
I don't know. Disney has not invited us yet to that one.
Well, I bought my tickets
I have
just
a
in
ticket
case.
too. Yeah.
You're making a face, Kevin. You don't want to go? Oh.
I waited on Chicago and got burnt out, and so yeah, I'm
We were
definitely.
like the day it came out on our computers, like, did you get it yet? Did you get it yet?
Let me
Did you
put it
get it
this
yet?
way: they're going to have fun.
Uh,
You guys are going to have.
John,
a
you can
blast.
come with us too.
Thank you. I
So
appreciate that very
it can
much.
be the three of us, and we'll geek out together.
All right.
Okay.
Hey.
Sorry, but yeah, with most of the After Dark events, there's going to be unique entertainment, themed food and beverage, photo opportunities, merchandise, more, and then there will be the celebration of Twin Moons Eclipse Day in Batu. Also expect dance parties, characters, Star Wars fireworks, and if you go to that event, Star Wars night, then you'll get unlimited photo pass digital downloads during the party. And yeah, the party will begin at 9 with early access beginning at 6 o'clock. Nothing's on sale yet, so look for that. But if you're out for celebration, you want to take Star Wars to the next level, you have this one here
cool.
too.
Cool.
They're going all in. Good for them. Thank you, Craig. All right, that'll do it for Rapid Fire. Up next, we're going to do our discussion topic. Everybody ready?
Yes.
All right. Seatbelted in. So, this is inspired by a thread on the Disboards, disboards.com, by someone who calls themselves the Magic Division. And they posed a question to the boards, which attraction for first ever ride? And they post, at 26 years old, I'll be going to Disney World for the first time ever. Not considering wait times, what attraction in the Magic Kingdom would you pick as your first ever Disney ride? So what I did was, before we came to the show, I sent it out to the team and I said, I'd like to hear what you guys would tell somebody for their first ever Disney ride. In my opinion, I don't think we have to limit it to this particular gentleman who's 26. You know, it could be anybody you know, friends, family. But what are some of your ideas? Someone's never been to Walt Disney World ever. What's the first thing they have to ride to encapsulate the magic?
At the Magic
And it
Kingdom
can
or
only be
anywhere,
Magic
any
Right.
park?
And let's start with the Magic Kingdom.
Okay.
And then let's move on to something else after that.
I would consider one of the classic attractions, one of the not Space Mountain or Thunder Mountain, something like that, but something in Fantasyland. Maybe it's a Small World. I don't know, because it only it's they might be bored at first, but once they get the message,
But if you've never been to Disney, you don't know that you're going to be bored on Small World,
Right.
right? You're going to go and
I'm not
everything.
bored.
I love Small World.
I agree with Small World if it's something like, somebody I know that really loves and appreciates Disney and would enjoy coming. If it's just somebody that's like, oh, I'm coming down to visit and they don't really know anything about it, I probably wouldn't take them there just because
Or Pirates.
what is this? But in that case, I do like Space Mountain or something because it's more thrilling. But to somebody who's a Disney fan that's like, this is my chance and this is my first time getting to go, I think that's the best starting place because it's Walt. Like that's what it is.
I think I would say Haunted Mansion first because I think it does a lot of.
Corey's changing his mind every time.
and also I didn't get the email. I must be in my read on the show email list.
Automatically deleted John's email file.
I just think that attraction has a lot of when you think of Disney, it's how they tell stories in an attraction, and I think it has a lot. It tells a really cool, unique story in a unique way, but it uses a lot of those things that I think Disney's known for, which is a lot of these effects that they can do. So there's like, I still, as a 35-year-old person in 2020, I go on this ride and I think like the dancing in the ballroom scene still is fascinating to me, how our minds work that way, or even just the busts that turn their heads
But
that
The
aren't real.
classic Disney magic.
Yeah.
With some new stuff thrown in. They've absolutely added some new stuff. But yeah, it's sort of that whole Imagineering at its best.
Yeah, and one of the things about Haunted Mansion, like I thought about that instantly, and then I kind of like stepped back for a second because I was like, well, but some of the effects, like, as much as I know everyone loves the stretching room, I'm like, if they're not willing to go in with the magic of it all, they're just going to be like, okay, I see it moving up. But I'm not trying to assume this person's pessimistic, but you never know how they're gonna feel. But like, I think
real.
ultimately a lot of stuff like the Pepper's Ghost that would help to overcome the Escher stairs. There's nothing that seems like done on the cheap, whereas
I don't understand the words he's saying.
These are the effects that they've used. We watched the Imagineering story, and they talked about the different effects.
Yeah.
Some of them are classic magician tricks. Some of them are movie theater tricks, theatrical tricks.
Yeah, it's the stairs that look like they're from M.C. Escher's paintings. So
Don't go anywhere. But
yeah, and so I think that one. Another one that if you go to other theme parks and such, I think Splash Mountain definitely is a nice, well-rounded one because it shows off Disney storytelling, the importance of music, has a little bit of a thrill in there as well too, and a nice lengthy attraction that you don't feel like. It's
over really quick.
I waited 60 minutes for this and it's over within 90 seconds. You definitely get your payout on it.
Yeah, I said, just coming from the Disney history and getting an overview of the park or certain parts of the park, I said the people mover. Because it's a little bit of a classic nod. It's something that Disneyland doesn't have anymore, so it's kind of like ours. And you get to see Tomorrowland, you get to see great views of the castle, just from angles and views that you're not going to get to see not on the attraction.
You can be a quick tour guide on a ride too.
That's exactly, and you get to see part of the Epcot mock-up, so that's always neat to be able to see that. So it's just a little history and it's a little fun and sneak peek, and I said that, and It's a Small World. So
Kevin, what about you?
Dumbo.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah.
It's part of the original Disneyland. It was shown on TV. It's kind of like
It's like every commercial they do Dumbo,
Right.
and
Dumbo
they do
and
teacups.
teacups.
And
So-
I didn't go as deep dive in talking of whether their emotional state when they get there, if they're depressed or pessimistic. I just think it's one of those things that you don't have to think about. You're in a flying elephant. And I think if it's your first ride, it kind of sets the tone that you should relax and have some fun. I didn't think this deep about it. It would, if I was telling somebody to do it, I would tell them that or the teacups. And then explore. But that would be my...
I would say Splash Mountain. I think Splash Mountain sort of, again, encapsulates all of the Disney magic, all of the things that you come to expect from Disney, but they've turned a classic ride into a Disney ride, which makes it even better for me. When I first started working for Disney and I went through traditions, one of the things they said to you was, you're going to have bad days. You're going to have days where you don't want to be working and that people are going to, get on your nerves and stuff. Think of the thing at Disney that you love and remember that you can do that whenever you want as a cast member. And mine was Splash Mountain. So I could go and I could ride Splash Mountain whenever I wanted, and it made me smile. All right, so let's...
Yeah, but if it's their first ride, they're going to spend the rest of the day in the park wet.
Well,
Well, it's Disney magic. We've automatically dried them off.
maybe they brought a change of clothes. They've come prepared.
Excellent.
Take them to Fun Spot for a day, and then take them to Disney and say, "Just kidding, just
Well, you
joking."
don't know where they've gone before. There might be folks who go to their local theme parks or their local,
Yeah.
and this is their first Disney experience. So let's talk now about Epcot. So you've sent them to Epcot for the first time. What's the first ride you sent them on an Epcot to?
Oh, Soarin'.
Soarin',
Yeah,
yeah.
Soarin'. I know the first time that was the first attraction I ever did at a Disney park. We went to California Adventure the very first day it opened, and that was we randomly showed up. It just was our luck that happened to be that day. And I had just never done anything like that before. My parents had never done anything like that. And of course, the graphics at the time were like phenomenal. And it was just the coolest that we talked about it for years after. Like you were like, you're like on the wing of a plane. Like you get up and you do this whole thing and you see everything about the state we lived in. And so we're familiar with all this because we've lived here for a while.
There's this sort of also wonder with that is like, how did they do it?
Yeah.
How exactly did you do that?
I would do Spaceship Earth, mainly because I don't want them asking me all day what's inside that ball.
Yeah.
Knock that, get that out the way. Now you know.
Corey made this about him.
The mystery is gone.
Yeah, there you go.
I also didn't say that you were going to go with them or how to interact with them.
Right.
You were just sending them there.
Yeah. Oh, just sending them. Oh,
Is
yeah.
that really? I mean, is it really about because you don't want to answer that question, or
Possibly.
do you think?
Well, no, it's. I think it's something that
It's
the
the icon for the
you
park.
almost have to do that. Right there.
I kind of feel that way too. I feel like you're going to step in and everyone's going to go, "I need to do that."
Right.
thing."
I think they should do that first, too. They should have their disappointment early.
Oh,
I'm
no.
kidding.
my
I'm just
gosh.
joking.
Oh my
It's
gosh.
the icon for the park.
Kevin.
It's,
I agree.
it's you know.
I had the opportunity in April to visit the park with my parents for the first time since October 1982. So we were there during opening month, and then Mom and Dad just kind of went, check, we're good. But when they were down visiting in April, one of the attractions that we went on Spaceship Earth, and we went on Soarin', and just the delight seeing my parents on that attraction with my sister and her family. Like, my dad's leaning over and saying to my sister, oh, I've been there. Oh, I've stood right there, right by the Taj Mahal. All of that. It really appeals to all ages. It really doesn't matter, but it'll be a touchstone for everyone. So that's why I said Soarin'.
And again, unlike anything you can ride anywhere else. You can ride roller coasters other places. They may not be Disney coasters, but where can you ride Soarin'?
Yeah.
Only one place.
Yep.
You guys, what do you got?
I actually, the more I think about it, the more I'm thinking I don't really like any of the attractions at Epcot. I don't think. I'm just trying to think what. If this is this person's first time here, I mean, I do enjoy Spaceship Earth, and I would show them that because I think anything, animatronics is synonymous with Disney, I feel like, at this point. So I do that, but
You don't like Soarin'?
I don't like it like anybody in this room or anyone I ever meet likes it. I think it's a giant IMAX movie theater screen that I'm sitting on a bench that kind of blows some smells in my face. I don't like it. I don't have a love for it like that.
Pessimistic when you were talking.
I do feel like crying a little bit right now. I don't mean this in a mean way, but he once said to me, he said, I don't love Epcot right now because it feels like it becomes like a sort of a hassle and that sort of stuff. And I just was thinking the other day, like if somebody was like, oh, I don't ever go on rides at Epcot.
I agree.
Ever,
we don't
ever.
Either. It's an event. It's a
All right.
stroll through the world showcase event.
So again,
Yeah.
but what about shows there? Would you send someone to a show at Epcot?
I mean, if it was still Illuminations, Reflections of Earth, I would say, yes, this could be amazing. I don't love the current show. I'm
Like
sure the
Casey
new
and
one
Sunshine.
might be great. I do look forward to it. That's what I would have done before. Don't get me wrong. I do like the experience of being at Epcot, and because I like to, wherever I travel to, eating and drinking is a big deal for me. Like, I like to see what local cuisine is like, what the locals would do. So I think that's kind of the experience I would take them through, is being like, oh, here's my favorite drink that I feel is very original that would come from here, and it's because of this and this. So I like that aspect of it, I guess, the cultural aspect of it. And I don't think now that Frozen has replaced the Norway attraction, there isn't really another attraction that's a moving part that's in the countries. They're just videos, right?
No, what about the boat
Mexico.
ride?
Grand Fiesta
Oh,
Tour.
yeah, but
The American Adventure?
Does it move?
Yes.
No. Oh, sorry.
It's
I mean, the stage
moving.
moves.
Oh, no.
It
I meant
Soul
like
Stirring.
I guess I was
Soul
thinking in
Stirring.
terms of the physical
Oh,
attraction.
a physical moving.
Yeah,
thinking
yeah.
of
Sorry,
rides.
sorry.
Seas,
Yeah,
living
yeah,
with
yeah.
the seas. How about
No, I don't. Nah. I don't like
living
any
with
of
the
it.
land? Not living with the seas.
Nah, living with the land. I
Okay,
hate
well,
it.
I'm going to bring it back.
I'm trying to drill down and get
I know.
something here.
I don't.
Go ahead, Craig.
He's not gonna
I'm gonna-
budge on this one. He
I'll
would
wait
choose,
outside.
He would choose the Italian man with his whistle and kicking soccer balls.
Oh,
So that would be his choice ultimately.
The chairs in France, Craig.
I know you love any
also has
act
whistles.
that incorporates whistles. Pretty much is what I
I
know.
go the other way when I see those guys. Oh, he's setting up the chairs, Kevin. Let's go.
It stresses me out.
Yes.
I would
Yes.
vote Soarin'. I know I'm the last one on there. There is something amazing about Spaceship Earth if you are a Disney fan, but for me too, I worry that if you're not invested into it going into it, and I know I'm getting deep again, but I think about like watching a Goofy movie growing up, and there's the point where they go to Lester's Possum Park, and it's supposed to make fun of Country Bear Jamboree and broken down animatronics, and other cartoons and people have mocked that over the years, that I'm like, unless an animatronic is like state of the art, I would be worried that you take them on Spaceship Earth and they're like, oh, they're not really moving, they're just kind of there.
Nobody makes
But-
the attraction everyone makes fun of the most is Small World, right? Every comedian,
exactly.
everything they make fun of Small World, but it's
But yeah.
iconic.
So Soarin' to me, I feel like that's there are other great attractions at Epcot, but I feel like that's the one that if you don't know what you're getting in for, and you walk into that and they sit you down, and next thing you know, you're up in the air, Like,
On a
I think
bench.
that's a wow moment on a bench.
Watching an
It is.
IMAX.
I do want to. I want to also
Right
say for Soarin', because I have done, because I had never seen anything like it. But then at the Mall of America, they have a similar one that's like all of America. And then at the port in Vancouver, whenever you go on Alaska cruises, they have one that's O Canada, and it's essentially the same ride, but it's that. And both of those are like $25 a piece to do in the Mall of America, and it's somewhere between 20 and 25. So I'm like, by the time I brought like a family of people on here, like that would have been one of our ticket prices.
You
for the
like it
day
'cause
to
it's a
to
deal?
Disney. It's a good deal.
Yeah, it's a good deal.
So, it's a good deal.
Good deal on
Like
it.
a bit of discounts there. So
He's doing the math.
it's a good deal.
We got a couple minutes left. Let's go through Animal Kingdom.
Dinosaur. I like Dinosaur
Wow.
because what I love about it is it's that fun. Like, I just did this with somebody for the first time too. It was my friend's family, and it was it's just something about, I was never a big roller coaster person, and the older I'm getting, the less I'm becoming a roller coaster person because it hurts my head. But Dinosaur is something where it's like, it's thrilling and it's exciting, but it still has like those moving parts, like
That hurts
the
my back.
dinosaurs and stuff. Oh no, it's tossing you around
Yeah.
these days. I was in the
Dino
last
hurts.
row and I'm like, what's happening?
This is easy though. It's not Dinosaur. It's Safaris.
For
Safaris.
sure.
This
Yeah.
Unless you
I
have
like pretend
thousands
animals.
of dollars,
Yeah.
you're not getting. I mean, I know
Right.
there's some around, like
That's a
San
valid
Diego.
point.
I think they do a safari, but where else are you really getting that?
Right.
experience?
You
Yeah.
go to
Yeah.
Animal Kingdom, you want to see animals. So start
Yeah.
off with that and like let the rides be later.
The
Like, you don't want
dinosaurs
this yet.
are real.
The shaman. You want to see the shaman?
So,
singing
so-
there.
Exactly.
Safari was actually what I was going to say. Like before we limited it to Magic Kingdom for the first one, that was my like overall, because not that I go on it every single time or anything, but I'm like, go pull up how much a safari is to go on there.
Yeah.
So like it's a lot of money to like go anywhere, whether you're flying over to Africa to go on one or even in the United States. You're going to spend a couple $100 a person just doing a safari that's not even at the level of this one. So again, I guess the money value part. So I guess I'm on the same track there.
You know how much it
Soarin'.
costs to hang glide over California?
Exactly. I'm dollars and cents.
And,
So
and rhinos to go see actual dinosaurs.
It's really expensive.
They're real.
Danny, what about you?
Yeah,
Animal Kingdom.
the first thing that popped in my mind was Flight of Passage, because
surprised
it
you
is
guys didn't mention that.
it's
I don't like it.
brand new. It is cutting edge. It's just the amazing thing it is. But if you have someone who would be sensitive to that movement, I was just in Animal Kingdom on Saturday with my youngest, and we got to do Finding Nemo again. We've seen this musical so many times, but Finding the Nemo, the musical, is just so spectacular. And
Here's something sacrilegious.
Kevin, sure.
I've never seen it.
By Finding Nemo?
Kevin,
Ah.
oh, you need to do
I haven't
it.
seen it.
Oh,
We
it's
waited
delightful.
in line a couple times.
I have waited in line a couple times, and
Oh,
about
and
30
bailed.
minutes in, I thought, that's it, I'm done.
Forget it. No, it is so it's delightful, and it's like, why wasn't this music in the movie to begin with? Because it just fits so beautifully and seamlessly. So if you have someone who's motion sensitive averse, then maybe go to Finding Nemo the musical.
Corey,
But I
did you
do
go?
love the safaris.
No, I agreed with the safari. I think I have a pattern. Like all the attractions I've picked were like Small World, Spaceship Earth, and then
slow ones?
the slow ones, and then you build your way up.
I also think they're kind of the ones that you're mentioning are kind of iconic.
Yeah, I agree.
And I don't use that word lightly. I think that word's really overused. But they're kind of, Spaceship Earth is the
Yeah, you
the,
see it.
the main, what's the
See it
word I'm
from the
looking for,
airplane.
of the park. It's the icon of the park. And Animal Kingdom, it's kind of right in the title. It's kind
I was
of
just
right in the
surprised
name.
these guys didn't mention Flight of Passage, because I know they're a love of that.
I don't care.
Real quick, we got 2 minutes to wrap it up. Let's go through the studios. Danny, you go first.
Okay, so studios, I said Toy Story Mania.
What?
Is what I said. I said this.
You
I
have
said
2 minutes,
that-
no arguing.
Yeah, just because it's a lot of fun, and Grandma and Grandpa can do it, and so can Junior. So everybody
It's
can do it.
interactive, and you get
It
to do
is.
it over
It's
and over
fun.
again.
You know what
And
else
you're
is? A
competitive.
Wii.
What? What did you say?
A Wii is interactive.
On Wii. Oh,
The Great
dear.
Movie Ride.
The Great Movie Ride is gone.
I know, it's still what I would tell them to go do.
You just stand in front of it and tell them
And
what it used
I
to
would
be.
act it out.
The Great Movie Ride.
I'm going bass backwards. I'm picking Tower of Terror.
That's my favorite.
How is nobody saying Rise of the Resistance?
Well, we didn't get
Well,
to you yet.
that's okay.
Sean's up
Okay.
next.
I would also say Tower of Terror. So Rise of the Resistance was amazing, but Tower of Terror, it's really iconic. I don't like droppy rides usually because they're outside. I love that one's inside, so I can do it. It's not as terrifying to me. So
Okay.
I was gonna say Rock and Roller Coaster till I saw the Grammys.
Oh, bless their hearts. It was good to see them.
Here's
though.
the deal. They're iconic. Again.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are.
Rhino, you go.
I think Rise of the Resistance would be for sure because, like I've said about this attraction before, is I love it uses a little bit of all those years and years and years of Disney Imagineering that culminates into this beautiful cutting edge experience. You know.
I have not been on it.
Corey Martin.
The man
I
is
guess you
using
were
a
recovering,
crutch
yeah.
to get around right now.
This is no excuse.
You have a medical
I have not-
reason.
Well, as we
Sorry.
talked about last week, when you read the board to make sure that you don't have any of the listed problems, like
sandwich.
recent surgeries, and I think he wouldn't check off a bunch of
True
those.
Disney fan would ride it no matter what.
I haven't ridden it either.
Craig, what about you?
I'm gonna go ahead and date this for the week after March 4th, but I'm gonna say Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway.
Looking
I-
I
forward
haven't
to
even seen the
What if
elements
it's
yet.
terrible
Already-
when you do it?
It's
I
not
haven't
A. I know it's not going to be terrible. B. It's a Mickey Mouse attraction, and what better choice could you make for a first
Okay.
attraction at the parks that came because of him? And C. It's to Kevin's knowledge of great movie ride choosing. There was some thought put into we're going to put this marquee attraction in this spot right there. It's even though Rise of the Resistance might be the bee's knees right now, Runaway Railway is going to be the marquee of that
I
park.
like the idea that
Okay.
both Great Movie Ride and Mickey's Runaway Railway, it's Hollywood Studios. It was
Right.
based around Hollywood
Yeah.
and studios. And I think Grauman's Chinese Theater is
And
a
they've
huge
left a
part of
lot of the
Hollywood.
elements there. You'll be happy to know you walk in. It's very Grauman's Chinese Theater. It's very
good.
iconic of that state. So excellent. Thank you guys very much. We are out of time. I appreciate everybody's input on that. I hope you guys at home got something out of it. And that'll do it for this episode of the Diz Unplugged. We hope you join us next week. Bye. Stop watching.